Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching this video from. This topic, I'm a little iffy about because I'm not very informed about it, but we're going to talk a little bit about should the United States leave the United Nations? I'm not too versed in none of this, to be honest. I'm not going to lie. But with the fact that many countries that are part of the United Nations, they go against human rights, civil rights of those people in those nations, and with the fact that the United States isn't all that great, and they, for lack of better words, the United States tends to not always have every person's civil rights in their mind when they do things. I think we should mind our business, stay to ourselves, even though being a lone nation doesn't always make it safe, but because of how other countries treat their people and their citizens, the United States can't do anything to help right now. I'm sorry. Everything always falls on the United States. Like various countries like Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, Venezuela, Costa Rica, all of these different countries, just these are just to name a few. Some of them have harsh living conditions for their citizens. The countries in what has been considered the Middle East, which is Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, Baghdad, these nations use children as soldiers instead of having adults, people over the age of 18, be soldiers. Granted, in the United States, you cannot be in the military unless you're 18. That's still not always good, I'm gonna be honest, because if you're a male, you kind of get drafted. I'm not sure if in today's age, if that's still a thing where you get drafted at the age of 18. I'm not sure because that's how it used to be. But even with that being said, that doesn't give these young men a choice. But in other countries like Venezuela, they're feeding their people animals that should really be dead. These are going against those people's human rights because you're not treating them like humans. You're treating them like they're the bottom of the barrel and that, oh, we're just going to feed them anything and they won't know. But that can be said the same for the United States when, for lack of better words, the food that we eat on a daily, this processed food like McDonald's, Burger King, Sonic, even Chick-fil-A, all of this processed food is basically saying we don't care about our people either. Instead of we get fresh meat, fresh vegetables that haven't been, pasteurized. They don't have all this GMO and all these different chemicals on them. So should we leave? Yes, mind your business. I hate to say it. We need to mind our business for a minute. We are the country that everybody depends on, but we have, for lack of better words, a beef with all these nations from one century or the next. Like, I get the United Nations is there to unite the nations. That's why it's called that. But a lot of these countries, they do not stick to the principles that the United Nations was built on. So why would we stay there knowing that we and every other nation aren't all sticking to the principles of what the United Nations stands for? Because if we're supposed to be a united front, that means if a country needs help, you help them. If people are running away from terrorists, abusive homes, abusive governments where they're killing off women, they're murdering families, that means those other nations, if they have the capacity to, when I say that, I mean the living capacity, the income, the economy for it, then you welcome those people into your nation. For instance, in the United States, people are getting very upset because under the new administration with Biden as president, they're upset that he wants to let those aliens, people from Mexico, beyond the border of Texas, the southern border of Texas. He wants to keep them here, but not actively let other people in. People are upset about that. Well, we don't have enough money for our people that already live here, and you want to let I hate to say it, but this is what I've heard people say. These presidents want to let these Mexicans live in our country. The only people that lived in the United States before it was called the United States were the Native Americans. And everybody else was brought here. So nobody has a right to say who and who cannot be here. But that goes for any country. If you're not native to that country, you need to let those who need help, whether it's give them safer environments, give them food and shelter. It should be welcome because we are a united front. So should we leave or should we stay? I say we should leave until everybody can come to a common ground and say we want to help each other. Because right now, all these wars and killings and just outright disgust is it needs to end. You have a good one.